Live? I believe we are live. So welcome to a delayed beginning to some Saturday night baseball. Saturday, not Sunday, not Friday, not Tuesday. This is in fact Saturday night. We
Even
got LA,
though
San Francisco, greatest rivalry in baseball. Eat your hearts out, Yankees in Boston.
or all you Padres fans down south, I still love to play the Giants more than anyone else.
It'll never be us. The Padres wish they were part of this rivalry.
And that is true. I mean, Dave Roberts said it best yesterday. It felt good to to be in a rivalry game for a while, although they hadn't played the Padres in a few weeks. So maybe that's what he was referring to. But
well, I mean, yesterday was the first San Francisco-LA matchup of the season. Okay, I'm on my computer.
I don't know how you go 40-some games and don't schedule Dodgers-Giants at least one series. That's preposterous. You have the Giants play the Reds in San Fran and in Cincinnati, but not LA.
Oh, yeah, ridiculous. Can you still hear me, by the way?
What?
Can you hear me?
Yep, everything's good.
I got on my laptop finally, so now we're good to go. We're running. We're normal. All right, it took us a while here. Anyway, but yeah, classic matchup. And yesterday's game ended up being a pitching duel between Alex Wood and that scumbag Trevor Bauer.
I didn't go that far in calling Trevor Bauer a scumbag, but
I would.
It was all Giants fans would right now.
Oh, I didn't like him when he was in Cincinnati or Cleveland either.
I mean, I always respected him just because he's different. You know, he's willing to say the quiet part out loud.
That's fair. Now I'm just obligated to hate him.
Some of this stuff. I mean, yeah. You know, like, it's hard for me to, like, I don't like Giants players simply because they're on the Giants. I don't have any problems with them. It's just I can't support a rival.
That's fair.
You know,
I mean, I just think, at least for me, like I definitely like. I love watching Clayton Kershaw pitch. I love watching.
Who doesn't?
Exactly. Like I like watching Walker Buehler. A lot of those. It's hard to hate a lot of those like homegrown Dodgers guys because like they're just flat out good. But
yeah, I mean,
it is what it is.
There's going to be a lot of payroll flexibility coming to San Francisco this offseason, though.
Yes, there is.
I wouldn't rule out them getting a new shortstop.
Our new shortstop is going to be Corey Seager.
I don't know. I personally think it's going to be Carlos Correa. I mean, that would just be so ironic because I don't know a single Dodgers fan who even tolerates someone from that Astros team. So him going up the coast to play for their most hated rival for another 8 years.
Yeah, that's fair.
That would be juicy.
I know Sears. So Sears been rumored to go to San Francisco for a while now.
That's been the big one.
Yeah, it's mostly been. I think it's because of Zahidi in the front office. Is mostly that reason. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him come up to San Francisco in the offseason. But who knows? There's a lot of available shortstops in the market.
Yeah, there's Baez, Story, Corey Seager, Correa. Semion's having a good year.
Brandon Crawford.
He's been turning back the clock, playing like it's an even year.
He's had a fantastic season so far, which is
you just can't ignore how good the Giants have been this year. And the media, like you wrote the other day, if you haven't that article, go check it out. But the media has been a little unfair to the Giants, in my opinion. And that's coming from a Dodgers fan.
Right, yeah. The media just, I mean, I understand, like, they're not exciting. And like I wrote in that article, like, they're not a super marketable team. But they've been flat out good this year. So, I mean, at least so far. I mean, that deserves some respect from the media, right?
I mean, if you are in first place 40 games in, quarter of the way through a season in a division featuring the Dodgers and the Padres,
right,
you deserve some respect.
Right. And just the media just doesn't give that to the Giants. And it's crazy. They ignore like everything going on outside or inside San Francisco. But like yesterday is also part of my article was they tweeted out, or MLB tweeted out the NL and AL Cy Young favorite graphics. And I'm like, where's Kevin Gausman? Because Kevin Gausman has been elite so far this year.
I'd have to look at his numbers.
Oh, yeah, go look at his numbers. They're impressive.
I'm looking it up right now. I have another reason I got the dual screen action. I can watch one game and just pull up someone's. But, I mean, I don't think their hitting will be as elite as it has been so far, but their pitching, I think, is legit. Ethan Katz, the pitching coach for the White Sox, came from San Francisco last year.
And look what he's doing there.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, like with San Francisco, their pitching, or they're not their pitching, their hitting hasn't even been fantastic. They're below league average in hits. They just get timely hits. They hit the ball like when they need to.
It also doesn't hurt that Buster Posey's hitting like it's 2012 again.
Oh, yeah. I love watching Buster hit upper 350s.
Or Evan Longoria hitting like it's 09.
Oh, yeah. A lot of guys have bounced back years so far for San Francisco, and that's a big part of the success that you're seeing there. And there's all the pitching, too, has been insane.
I mean, looking at Kevin Gausman right now, expected ERA 288, expected FIP 322, FIP 248. That's elite.
Yeah, those are great numbers.
And then you can look at it. Strikeout rate, it's nearly 30%. He doesn't walk many batters. He's been amazing for them.
Yeah, he's been lights out. But the thing is, he gets a lot of strikeouts, but not as much. Like, that's not his big thing. His big thing is really like, I'm just going to come in, get the job done, give you 6, 7, 8 innings of one-run ball or no-run ball. Like his actual ERA is below 2, I'm pretty sure. I think it's
1.66.
Oh, there you go. I was even high on the guess. But yeah, I think he's 5th, tied 4th among NL starters and strikeouts, 4th or 5th. And that's not even his big thing. He's not a strap pitcher like a lot of these other guys are. And he's just
gonna get outs.
Exactly, and he does it well. And the problem is, much like the Giants of the early 2010s, when at least San Francisco is called getting caned, where you get no run support. That's what's happening to Gausman a lot now. So he's not racking up a lot of wins either, because he just doesn't get a ton of run support.
Yeah. Let's see. Gausman started 9 games. He only has 4 wins. I mean, I've been hoping that Jacob deGrom, being the dominant force he's been in baseball the last few years, is kind of putting to bed the fact that wins matter. I mean, the pitcher win, it's just deceptive.
It's not a great
Rich
stat.
Hill. One of my favorite anecdotes is when Rich Hill took a perfect game into the 9th, lost it on an error, but had a no-hitter, took the no-hitter into the 10th inning, lost it on the final batter because he allowed a walk-off.
Yeah, I remember this game. I remember that game. Yeah.
Is it really his fault that they lost, he gave the Dodgers everything he could. And they provided him with no run support.
I want to say, when was Ross Stripling a Dodger?
Ross Stripling?
I think he's recently. Yeah, I think you want to say it's like 2018-ish. There was a game, it was Dodgers-Giants, and Ross Stripling had a no-hitter into the 7th. And I believe it was a Brandon Belt home run. And then, but then the Giants won that game 1-0, and Stripling took the loss. And I'm like, that's dumb.
It's just so deceptive of the actual game. You can't, like, you could see who won or lost a game, and then there's a game like that where, sure, they lost the game because they allowed the winning run, but if it's a 1-0 game,
the offense needs to do something.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, I think DeGrom really is kind of showing why pitcher wins are dumb. Like, it's an obsolete stat. Back in, the beginning of baseball, when pitchers were throwing the entire game, sure, that's a perfectly reasonable stat to have because, you're the only pitcher.
Yeah, that's when it made sense. But we're getting into an era of baseball where there are special relievers. You have guys put in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th innings.
Mm-hmm.
You have guys who are just throwing 95 plus right.
Oh yeah.
And they're picking up more wins because teams are scoring later,
Oh yeah. But it is what it is. Here we are. I think we are starting to see some changes though, and I think that's a big plus.
Yeah. The mainstream baseball community has become less and less accepting of the pitcher win. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but how is he? It's more important about how he's playing in those wins or how he's playing in those losses than the wins and losses itself.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, I just like watching baseball. That's I'm not going to complain too much about these pitcher win stats because in the end of the day, it's shifting. Doesn't matter all that much. And if a pitcher, I just want to tune in to watch elite pitching.
I'm with you there. I watch every Kershaw game religiously. It's become that way with Bauer and Bueller. I mean, these are 3 guys who could be aces on any team.
Mm-hmm. Even Dustin May.
Dustin May
sucks watching him go down to the
year. 5th best pitcher, or was the 5th guy, and he could have easily been a 3rd or 2nd on half the rosters in this.
I think he had been first on at least a 1/3 of the rosters in MLB.
I mean, yeah, I don't know who's better than him on the Pirates.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Pirates, the Rockies.
Definitely, I don't know. No, John Gray. I live in Colorado. I see more John Gray,
German Marquez,
German Marquez pitching than the average.
That's fair.
Viewer, but he would fit in well, like a number 2 guy there.
Mm-hmm.
You just have a negative effect when it comes to pitching at Coors Field, so everyone just kind of assumes the worst.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I'm trying to think of just teams. I think May's better than Marco Gonzalez, who's the Mariners ace.
Yeah.
I like Marco Gonzalez a lot, but I think May's a more talented pitcher.
He definitely is. It really sucked to see him go down with.
I was upset.
Tommy John injury.
I was so upset about it. But I mean, nothing we can do about it now. I'm sure he's going to come back just fine. I hope he comes back just fine because
there's enough of a track record with recent pitchers. Bueller had it right before he got drafted, I believe.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Jacob deGrom's had it.
lot of guys have had it, but
it's one of those things where guys are getting younger and younger and getting this procedure, and they're able to last longer.
Oh yeah, that's a walk to Alex Dickerson. Also, bottom two outs. I don't know when the second out came. I've already lost track of what's happening.
It's
or even the first. I just might have missed something. Either way, like Gausmer's gotten through too, and with despite or just the home run to Muncy, but
Longoria.
Oh, he grounded
put the ball in play. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He grounded out to third, I think. How do you feel about the Pujols signing as a Dodgers fan?
I mean, I think it's hilarious because I always thought his last name was funny, so
fair.
I don't know why, but from a baseball perspective, the advanced numbers said he was getting really unlucky.
Right.
Looking at his slash line at face value, it's deceptive. And the Pujols news, my reaction to it changed later in the day because Seager broke his hand.
Right.
And, a big talking point for the Dodgers the last 5 years or so has been their depth, and that's really been tested this year. I think not having a minor league season last year hurt some of these guys, Luke Raley, DJ Peters, Sheldon Noisy. I think all three of those guys would have benefited with minor league playing time.
Yeah.
I think they still can be regular contributors, but if you're just sitting on a bench at the alternate site, that's nowhere close to being able to see live at bats,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I like the signing a lot more when it was made official because you can slide Lux in at shortstop. It's not the best defensively, but
yeah, it's not ideal.
He's been on a tear since the calendar flipped to May. So you can have him there. You can play Noisy or you can play Muncy at second, and then Muncy or Pujols at first. A lot of flexibility still. Not really with Pujols, but because he really can only pinch hit at this point.
And play some first.
He can play first occasionally and he'll probably ground out into a double play tonight. I'm willing to bet on that.
I mean, he's already playing his second consecutive game at first today. He started at first yesterday.
He did. And he's hitting in the cleanup spot for the third time.
I don't get that. Like, Pujols is not a cleanup hitter anymore.
Well, he is when you have Sheldon Noisy, DJ Peters, and Luke Raley. I think that was their lineup today.
That's fair.
They have DJ Peters. Austin Barnes is hitting 6. So not ideal. Mookie Betts, I think, is just taking an off day, which he deserves. He's kind of been slumping.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think, Betts is Betts. He's going to do Mookie Betts things.
Yeah, he started out slowly last year and ended up finishing second in MVP voting. I am not concerned with Betts.
Yeah, neither am I. Betts going to LA was heartbreaking. Not because I didn't think he was coming to San Francisco or anything. But
he's gonna be there for another decade.
Exactly. I'm like, I'd rather this never happen.
He's got enough of a track record of being an elite player where you can just kind of discount a slump here and there. Like, oh, okay, he's Mookie Betts. He's gonna go back to being
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so I've been trying to kind of keep tabs on these shots and everything. Cali's got, I don't want to say the most idiotic question we've ever gotten. She asks, what is the worst park in baseball and why is it Oracle Park? Coming from the A's fan in Cali, everybody.
I would not be slandering Oracle Park if you're an A's fan.
You can't slander any park besides Tampa Bay if you're an A's fan.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that's just facts.
I mean, I've never been to Oracle Park personally, but I do enjoy watching a Dodgers-Giants game there.
That's right. Oracle. I mean, I've been to Oracle and the Coliseum. The Coliseum is trash. It's an awful stadium. Yeah. The A's are a good team, housed in the worst ballpark in
I mean, game. When the Dodgers were playing the A's earlier this year, I was so happy that they were playing in Oakland early on, so I didn't have to watch more games in that Coliseum.
Right.
I refuse to watch an A's game unless the Dodgers are playing, or an A's home game, I should say. I don't mind watching the A's on the road. They're a very good team.
They're a good team.
But I hate watching games at that stadium. It was weird watching the wild card series there last year.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with my family. They're all White Sox fans. So I had to watch. Yeah.
How'd you get to be a Dodgers fan? If you live in Colorado, your family's White Sox fans, and you're a Dodgers fan? Like, where'd that come from?
Yeah. It's a fun story. So every White Sox fan, like, they are just kind of taught to hate the Cubs.
Fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
And in 2016, the White Sox, they're awful. I was raised a White Sox fan. I still love watching the White Sox.
Right.
But if I had to say who my primary team is, it's the Dodgers. But I thought, being naive, the Dodgers were going to win it all in 2016. I don't know why, or I know why, but I don't know what underlying numbers said they were. But I'm like, I'm picking them. And I was right about them beating the Nats in the LDS. Mm-hmm. And, the Cubs are in the LCS as well. And wanting them to lose, and picking the Dodgers, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to be the biggest Dodgers fan now.
Right.
And I think it was game 2, whatever game Kershaw was outstanding in. I just fell in love.
That's fair. And Clayton Kershaw has that effect on people. Clayton Kershaw's outstanding.
That's what it is. And it really reignited my love for baseball. I didn't know any of this advanced numbers stuff. I didn't get in learning this, and I'm still learning all this stuff,
analytics, sabermetric stuff.
I kind of knew about it, but I didn't become invested in it until I started watching the Dodgers.
That's fair, and it's a very analytically driven team now. They have been kind of for a while, so it makes sense. I understand that for sure.
So, but I still love the White Sox. I got some White Sox stuff in the back of my bedroom here. White Sox collectibles. I'm pretty sure I have a pennant from the 2005 World Series team.
Nice.
It's just awkward when my family's asking me questions like, "Oh, are they going to win the World Series this year?" I'm like, "Well, the Dodgers are contenders, so I'm going to defer to them."
Yeah, but I mean, that's a good back and forth, I feel like.
It's not like I'm a Giants fan and an A's fan, or I'm a Dodgers fan and an Angels fan. Like, you can't. I don't think you can root for both of those teams.
Yeah, it wasn't so like growing up. So I grew up a Giants fan.
Yeah,
and when I got like super like kind of invested in baseball when I was probably about 16 or so, 15, 16. Like I'd always liked baseball, and no, that's not even true. It's probably like when I was 12, because I remember the first Giants World Series when I was 10 years old. I was a fan. I was a Giants fan, like more of a casual fan. And then after that year, I started watching more. And then 2012, the 2011 season, I started watching like religiously. And then after that, ever since, is when I started watching. And when I first started watching, I was like, oh, I hate the A's. Because like they're the A's, they're right across the Bay Area rivalry. Their stadium is hot garbage, all that, you know. But it wasn't until like probably a couple years ago where I'm like, I just like baseball. Like I don't hate the A's. I have no disdain towards the A's. If I have to pick Giants A's, I'm picking Giants 100 times out of 100.
Yeah.
But I like watching the A's. Like I'll root for the A's. I like watching their team. They've got a quality team. So. Yeah. But I'll never root for the Dodgers ever in my entire life. So
that's fine. I wouldn't expect that from a Giants fan. I don't like the Giants, but that's a rivalry thing. I don't like the Cubs because I was raised to not like them.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I don't like the Padres because they're a division rival. I hate the Astros, and that one doesn't need much explaining.
The Astros.
That one doesn't need explaining.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, it's not so like I'll root for the Rockies, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, like every now and then. Then I'm never gonna like I said, ever against the Giants, no. But like I have a Rockies jersey. I wanted a Padres jersey because those jerseys are nice and everything. Diamondbacks, I think they're kind of a cool, fun team. I like Chase Field a lot. So, but like. It's just because I'm just a baseball fan. Like, I'm a Giants fan, but I just like baseball. And that's my thing.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. I'm tempted to get one of those Miami Marlins City Connect jerseys.
Oh, I want one of those jerseys. I just got
I fell in love recently with those. Marlins have an underrated look.
Oh, the Marlins.
It just fits.
Their look is fantastic. I just got, a couple days ago, the new... Marlins like logo, the hat. It's funny. I was at a Ross. If you don't shop at Ross, people should start shopping at Ross. Big fan. But they had 3 different Marlins hats. They had a Florida Marlins, an old Miami Marlins, and like a new Miami Marlins hat. I'm like, well, only one of them was in my size, so I bought that one. I'm like, that's kind of weird, but yeah. So I bought the new one, and like it's a nice logo. It's a nice hat. Like. Their uniforms are so good, and their City Connects are already, I think, a top 5 jersey in baseball right now.
I mean, I hope they keep it around. I think they will, because that's kind of what the City Connect goal is. Yeah. I'm a little afraid to see the Dodgers one, just because they have such an iconic look. It's just, you just can't mess with it. Why mess with perfection? In my opinion.
I mean, I think it's the same idea when they did the what are they called? The Players Weekend jerseys a few years ago. I think that people were super afraid of that. It was mostly Dodgers and Yankees fans. I remember being like, we can't mess with our looks at all and stuff like that because this is who we are.
I'm always gonna defer to that.
Which is fair. That's fair. But I'm like, I like cool new jerseys. Give us a cool new jersey.
I mean, you see what the NBA is doing, and everyone loves it.
It goes a little overboard.
Even though like half of their city jerseys are hit or miss. I mean, it's either amazing or awful.
Oh yeah, and like the NBA. I mean, so for basketball, I'm a Rockets fan. And their city jerseys this year, they're the light blue ones, were fantastic.
Yeah.
But the ones they had the year before, which were like the NASA inspired ones, I thought were dumb. Like, I did not think they were good jerseys.
Yeah.
But this year, like, sometimes they're super good, sometimes they're not. Like the Mavs ones,
yeah,
the weird green graffiti kind of ones. I'm like, those are kind of weird.
I like those, but that's just because it was just weird.
Yeah, it was a good weird, that's for sure. But I'm like, it's weird though.
It's like the Barney Toronto Raptors ones. Like they started becoming more popular because they were just weird.
But they're just iconic, and I love them.
Exactly. Like maybe in 20 years or so, we're looking back and we're saying these Mavericks jerseys, even though they were only around for a year, were iconic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely the case.
I mean, I'm a Nuggets fan.
In Colorado. Nuggets are a good team.
I love watching them. I love their city jerseys.
Their city jerseys are sweet. And they have been. Like, all the city jerseys they end up getting, they've hit the mark. Nuggets jerseys are fantastic. But, like, I mean, I think we talked about it a little bit last week on Sunday Night Watch Party. The old school Rockets, the Yao Ming era pinstripe kind of jerseys
were super sick. The navy.
Yeah, the navy logo. Or navy and and then I think my personal favorite Rockets jerseys are the ketchup and mustard ones, the red and yellows. Like, I think those are sick. Like, I love
absolutely. Them. They don't have enough. They don't use yellow enough in their current color scheme.
I agree, and I want them to go back to it. Now the fact that our team is garbage, they might start doing more stuff like that.
They should. I miss the baby blues from the Nuggets too. That it was perfection. But
I always have the opinion that baby blue, powder blue belongs in like just about every uniform. It's so good.
Yeah. But like I grew up and that's what the Nuggets wore, so that's why I'm partial to it. You know,
Fair.
Like I just think of Melo and AI rocking those. And then later Chauncey Billups. Ty Lawson, I think of like a few years ago they had like a navy alternate with yellow, like with Nuggets in a yellow script. That's what I think of when I think of Ty Lawson.
That's fair.
Great player for the Nuggets, though.
He's a terrible Rocket. He was god awful with the Rockets.
Yes, he was.
God, he was so bad. But you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you can't always win the player acquisitions. Just ask the Dodgers with Scott Kazmir. That was not a great deal for him.
I mean, he's pitched him well so far tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I did not expect 3 innings of one run ball so far after not pitching. But I also saw that he was pitching and thought he's either going to go 6 or 7 innings of 1 run because that's just how the Dodgers offense has been. It's very hot and cold with games. Like sometimes they're just on and sometimes they're not, or he's going to get blown up.
Yeah, I think I very much thought the same thing. I'm like, this is going to be a Scott Kazmir revenge game, or he's just going to like have a terrible time. So,
Bueller strikes out Yastrzemski.
Yep. Yastrzemski's kind of had a cold start to the season so far. But he's starting to kind of pick it up a little bit. But
his OPS is above 800, and that's what I care more about.
It is. Yeah, his OPS is above 800, which is good. He's drawn a lot of walks. And he's hitting he's hitting rockets. But
yeah,
I feel like he's getting kind of unlucky as well. But,
I couldn't tell you the StatCast data for him, but
go look it up. Let me pull up some savant numbers on him. Baseball Savant, probably my favorite website now.
Yeah, I've been using Fangraphs a lot more since I started at Diamond Digest. So,
yeah. Fangraphs, Baseball Reference, Baseball Savant, top 3 websites on the internet.
I know. Baseball Savant, I love it for in the StatCast era because then it's just like full career. Otherwise, I don't know. It just feels incomplete.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's a fair assessment, I feel like.
Like when I wrote about Joe Musgrove a few weeks ago, I relied heavily on Baseball Savant, partially because, that was a good way of illustrating how his pitches were changing.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. That's a good website for it.
Yeah. Because it shows you location and strikeout percentage, all the basic numbers you need, and it's just crazy to me how he did that on a team that isn't really known for pitcher development. I mean, we see Garrett Cole leave Pittsburgh. He's a Cy Young contender. Tyler Glasnow leaves, and now he's probably top 5 in the AL Cy Young rankings right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe Musgrove, it began while he was in Pittsburgh, so that's a good win for their team. It's they're probably just wishing, why couldn't you have put it all together while you were with us? But
yeah, like a year earlier.
COVID screwed a lot of things up, man.
True.
Like I look at players' numbers on really any website. I'm like, it was COVID. Or if it's a good year, I'm like, it was a good year.
Yeah,
it's fair. Either you had a great year or COVID. You have a built-in excuse.
Oh yeah. And so I've got Yastrzemski's numbers up now. Yeah, Buster Posey, broken bat, ground out to short. So Yastrzemski, he's 82nd percentile in walk percentage, but he's striking out a lot. He's 25th percentile there. His XBA is in the 5th percentile, so that's not great. xWOBA also really low. Hard hit percentage, he's in 60th, so it's in the upper half of the league. Max exit velocity, average exit velocity, also both upper half of the league. His chase rate's 88th percentile, and he plays really good defense. His outfielder jumps 94th percentile. His OIA is 83rd.
Yeah. He's one of those guys where I think he has just enough of a track record where he's like, all right, he's not as bad as some of the basic numbers are saying.
Right.
We can expect some sort of regression to the mean.
Yeah, so we'll see, but definitely a slow start this year. And if Yastrzemski can start going while all these other guys can stay hot, I think this Giants offense is going to kind of come together pretty well.
Yeah, they're definitely a team that a lot of people slept on.
Oh, we do have some trivia, though, in the HotMic chat. New trivia just dropped. Right. Babe, wake up. So, 4th inning trivia via StatCast. Max Muncy, Buster Posey, and Chris Taylor lead all qualified batters on these 2 rosters in xWOBA. So, Peyton, pretty sure Buster Posey is not a qualified batter, actually, but good try. I don't think Buster Posey's reached the plate appearances threshold. Anyway, but the options are Corey Seager, Darren Ruff, Mookie Betts, and Brandon Crawford.
I'm going to go with Brandon Crawford. I don't know about Darren Ruff enough at all. Corey Seager, I don't think has enough plate appearances. Mookie Betts has kind of started slow for his standards, so Brandon Crawford.
Peyton also said it was by BBE, and he is qualified there, so fair enough. Yeah, and he'll throw the answer up here pretty soon. But yeah, I also guess Crawford. He's had a really, really good start to the year. Darren Ruff, actually, I don't think he'd be qualified, but has been pretty solid so far this year.
Yeah, I just don't think Seager kind of started off hot because he was playing the Rockies.
Fair.
And then after that, not as hot. So, but he's still a guy you're going to pay in free agency. And
absolutely.
For the Dodgers, the emotional aspect is there because he was the MVP of the NLCS and World Series. You know, he pretty much brought him back from the brink.
Oh, Brandon almost has a fantastic play down the right field line. Just barely misses it. Belt an elite defender at first base.
There's no such thing as an elite defender at first base.
As far as first basemen go, Brandon Belt should have so many more goals than he does. Like he has one.
I just have I just have always had a personal belief where there is no such thing as a great defender at first base.
That's fair. That's fair. As far as first basemen go, Belt is one of the best.
Yeah.
If I phrase it that way, it's a little bit more.
Yeah. I just had a natural bias against defensive first basemen.
That's fair. He also slugs the living hell out of the ball, so when he's healthy anyway.
Yeah. If you're playing first base, people don't really care about your defense too much. I mean, Albert Pujols is playing first base today.
I was about to say, yeah.
I don't think the Dodgers really have him there because he's an elite defender.
Right.
There.
I'd agree. That makes
They just love his bat against lefties.
Right. I was looking at Darren Russ. He doesn't have a bunch of stuff on StatCast this year. Mm-hmm. That's kind of sad. 78th percentile in max exit velo, 34th in sprint speed. He's not very fast.
Mm-hmm.
But his last 100 plate appearances are above league average in xWOBA. So that's good.
All right. I finally pull up the Albert Pujols stats, so we're gonna we're gonna break him down when he's up to bat.
Oh, please! I'll pull him up too. It's so weird seeing him in a Dodger uniform.
I couldn't agree more, man. It's
weird.
It just feels wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love it, but it just because. Like, it's Albert Pujols. It's one of the greatest hitters of all time.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, it's Albert Pujols in 2021.
And you're not getting much value out of him other than against left-handed pitchers. Right. All right, let's see.
Once he does single into right, kind of like, not quite into the shift, but in the direction of the shift, but still beats the shift.
Great hit by Muncy.
Good piece of hit. Also, does Pujols just not hit extra base hits that aren't home runs?
I don't know.
Singles and home runs. So that's what this Savant hit spray chart shows.
He has. Yeah, I have his spray chart pulled up. It is all singles and home runs.
No doubles at all. That doesn't surprise me.
Let's pull up Baseball Reference to cross-check that because I am not sure that's real.
Yeah, I feel like that's not accurate. I do love Baseball Reference, though. That's probably my go-to site. Payton says you do be slow. You do, in fact, be a little slow.
Let us see. He has... Albert Pujols has 21 hits. 6 home runs, no doubles, no triples.
And he just grounds into a double play at the end of the fourth. So, like, he's calling at the top of the game. Yeah.
What did I say? He's going to ground into a double play.
Yeah. He is a real slow. What's his sprint speed. He doesn't even have a sprint speed. He's not sprinting ever. He's probably 0 percentile sprint speed. I would bet.
But he's hitting the ball hard. Average exit velocity is 75th percentile. Hard hit percentage is 61st percentile. Expected batting average is 56, which is, I mean, you'll take that from a 41-year-old.
Right.
Who can't really run anymore. Expected slugging is 73. You know, he's smoking the ball. It's just bad luck. He's not. His strikeout rate is ugly though. It's 90th percentile. Walk rate is only 2 percentile. He whiffs a lot. 76th percentile. So not great. It's kind of a. He's not the Albert Pujols of 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Advanced numbers tell you 41-year-old player isn't same as was a decade ago.
41-year-old player is in fact 41.
Hashtag analytics.
Right. But yeah, and then Peyton does say, although if he puts one into the alley here, he could probably get a double. Puts one into Triple's alley.
He could.
He wouldn't get a triple, that's for darn sure.
Yeah, triples is all about speed.
Yeah.
There would have to be like a multitude of fielding errors, like the.
And then it's not even a triple; it's just
an error. Handle it, and then the third baseman would like have to not know how to field a ball, and.
Right. Exactly. Also, so looking at Savant, like with all the sliders. I'm curious, who is the most average player in baseball? That's my question. Who is the the player with the most between 47 and 52 or 53? Like who's extremely average? That's what I'm curious about.
That would be interesting.
Every category. That's what I want to know. I don't know how to go about looking that up.
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it either. I'll tweet at JF. See what he thinks.
Yeah.
I wonder if
we'll delegate this to someone who wants to find it.
JF probably knows this, honestly.
Someone has to. Walker, and now Fox is showing Walker Buehler's postseason stats or loss. 24 starts without a loss.
So he's gonna get the loss in this game somehow. That's what that means.
That's what it was. I thought it was like him as a postseason pitcher. I'm like, he's legit in the postseason.
I don't think he's made that many starts in the postseason.
I mean, he's made a lot for someone who's only been in the major. This is his 4th season in the majors. He's already pitched in 2 World Series.
That's fair. Why do I think he'd only been in the league for 2 years?
It feels that way. It definitely.
So why are his pants so tight? That's what I want to know. Asking the important questions.
Why does it feel like Walker Buehler is still new to the league?
Yeah,
that is probably it. I feel that way about Cody Bellinger. Like he's in his 5th year, and I'm like, wasn't he called up the other day?
Wasn't he called up last week?
Wasn't he called up to replace Adrian Gonzalez because he's hurt?
Man, Agon. I haven't thought about that name in forever.
He has 11 postseason starts.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot, actually.
And postseason ERA of...
Brandon Belt bunts for a single on a 2-2 count against the Shift.
It's all about getting on base.
I mean,
with
the kind of power that he has, it was it's a perfect bunt. And he'll do that from time to time to keep teams honest. And against Walker Buehler, I feel like that's not a bad time to do it.
No.
Because Walker Buehler does, in fact, have electric stuff. So,
yeah.
Giants bullpen's already going. Are they only going to give Kazmir 3 innings? Because he can definitely.
Is it already
go
a bullpen game?
4 innings. I know. So
they're not close to him batting. That's why I'm like, okay, maybe you don't want him batting again.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. But I know there's potential for this game to be a bullpen game in general before they called up Kazmir. They also recently called up Nick Tropiano, also former Pirates pitcher. So I'd imagine he probably appears in this game at some point. He was really good in the spring. I wanted to make the opening day roster. The answer was Darren Ruff to the trivia question.
Darren Ruff.
That's fair. I just didn't think he was going to be qualified. That was my thing. Darren Ruff has had a really good stretch.
I don't know enough about Darren Ruff's season, so.
Yeah, so he's gotten a lot more playing time this season because Belt was down for a while, and plus they stuck him in they'll stick him in left field, right field as well. But he's had a pretty good year so far. You'll probably see him. He'll probably be the first bat off the bench. He'll be a pinch hitter. But yeah, he's been good. If they take Kazmir out after 4 innings, I'm going to be kind of upset.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, keep pitchers in if they're rolling.
Yeah, exactly. And
just ask Blake Snell how he feels about that.
Right. Here's another thing. I think Gabe Kapler is a moron. I think he's an idiot. I think he does not know how to manage a bullpen. I think he's a terrible manager. But here we are. As Evan Longoria grounds into a double play. But
I mean, every person watching, if there are people in Philly watching, they're all, cheering, agreeing with you.
Oh, yeah. Gabe Kapler, I can't wait till I hope to God that he's out of San Francisco. I think he only signed for 2 years before the 2020 season, so I'm pretty sure he did anyway. So I'm pretty sure this is the last year of his contract. Look it up.
He's probably just a developmental coach before the farm system ages out or whatever, and they're back in contention. Yeah, that would be my best guess.
Yeah, I think he was a yes man for Zahidi for Farhan. So I'm assuming here that he's gonna be done after this season. I'm trying to find his contract as a manager. I'm pretty sure it was only 2 years.
I have the LA connection because Kapler was a farm director for the Dodgers, and that was a farm system when he was running it that had Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager, Walker Buehler was still in it.
Right.
So those are 3 elite players when they're healthy. I have to say when they're healthy because, 2 of them have been hurt quite a bit this year.
Right.
A real sizable amount of time. But Bellinger is rehabbing in OKC right now, as is Zach McKinstry. I know they're going to be welcomed back with open arms.
Zach McKinstry's been sneaky good this season so far. He's been a quality player for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Baseball, it's not always about who has the most star players. It's like who can find these random players to contribute. And the Dodgers do that extremely well. Look at Chris Taylor, Max Muncy.
Oh, it was a 3-year deal. Boo.
3 years.
So that means we have another season after this one with him. Unless they let him go early, which I hope they do. I just don't like it.
Well, what's their farm system look like?
So the Giants have a top 10 farm system in baseball. They did take out Kazmir. Why? Gabe Kapler, you babbling idiot. I know you don't know how to manage a bullpen or pitching staff, but like that's just bad. Kazmir was rolling.
They put in Yarlin, the former Marlin.
Is he really a former Marlin?
I don't know. I think he was actually.
Like that'd be funny. Yeah. And you're bringing in this another lefty. Like, why not keep Kazmir in? Kazmir's probably going back down.
He was a Marlin
anyway. Nice. Good.
He
good
was
pull.
a Marlin.
Good pull.
I knew it. Yarlin, the former Marlin.
But yeah, I mean, Kazmir's probably going back down to AAA after the start anyway, because Logan Webb's only expected to miss one start, and that's the spot in the order he has. Sanchez will probably be back soon enough anyway, so there's no reason to bring out Kazmir. Like, there's literally no reason, except for the fact that Cap was an idiot.
I don't agree with it at all. Why? You're not platooning.
No.
Because you have you have to face two lefty bats, and that's what Kazmir is. So why would you
brought in another lefty?
Like you would think, maybe when the lineup turns over, you have to face a bunch of righties again. You'll put in someone in as a right. Maybe he should just be a farm director. He was good as a farm director.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't wait. I'll celebrate the day he's out of San Francisco. Either way, though, Kazmir does have a pretty good start for how short it was for the Giants.
He was impressive for someone who hadn't pitched in the majors in nearly 5 years.
Yeah, it's a good start. I remember the Giants signed Kazmir. It's like it's potential pitching depth. So maybe it's all about pitching depth. You always need starting pitching depth. I'm like, yeah, it's true. But we also we had other guys that I thought would get starting pitching calls before he did. But now they're all hurt. So
they also have probably the most talented pitching coaching staff in the majors right now. I mean, look at what Alex Wood has done. DeScalfini, or if I'm saying that right.
DeSclafani.
Yeah.
Disco. I call him Disco. That's his nickname, Disco. Also elite nickname.
Yeah. Alex Wood, he struggled with the Dodgers last year. Again, COVID season. I think he got hurt early on, and then they're rolling, and you're not going to mess with that. But he was good in the playoffs, and someone will say, no, he wasn't, but he was good in Game 6 of the World Series, and that's all really I care
matters. About. Yeah, that's what matters. Yeah, Alex Wood. Yeah, so when Alex Wood was a Dodger, I was like, I hated facing Alex Wood because the way he pitches is just so different from everyone else.
Yeah.
It's so fast. His pace is extremely quick. And his delivery is funky, and so it's like I didn't like facing him because
he's a submarine pitcher as a starter.
Well, it's not quite submarine. He's got a
almost.
What is it? He's not sidearm. I think it's like it's low like 3/4.
I would say it's like what would that be? Like a 10 o'clock delivery?
Because he's really low to the ground, so he goes out, and then I guess I don't know. It's not quite.
I guess like if you're looking at the clock, it would be like a 10 o'clock.
That's not good. That's not good.
I'm behind.
No. Well, Barnes just hit a home run to the left.
Why am I behind? I did nothing. Okay, so you just allowed a home run to Austin Barnes.
I blame Gabe Kapler because he's a moron.
I am all for this.
I'm sure you are. I am sure you are.
I love Barnesy, but his bat is normally a negative in the lineup.
Oh, I know. I'm well aware.
So, I mean, opponents cheer when it's, they don't cheer when it's Kershaw pitching, but they're like, all right, we have an easier out.
It's an easier out than Will Smith, that's for sure. But Gabe Kapler's a dumb idiot.
I mean, Barnes, he was the starting catcher for all 4 of the Dodgers World Series wins.
Really?
Yeah. Because he's Kershaw's personal guy. He became Buehler's personal guy. And then after Game 4, where Will Smith committed an error on the final play, along with Chris Taylor, ripple effect from Cody Bellinger not playing center field that day.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. We were on the mic for that game. That we were doing
that had to have been a crazy one.
Yeah.
I'm watching that and in my dorm room, and I am just confused.
There is a super cut of because it was me and Scott that game of all the calls we had. There was a long game of like crazy kind of stuff.
So that was a great game.
Yeah, absolutely. The super cut's elite.
Ending is, I mean, I'm not going to complain about winning a World Series, but it would have been so good to see Kershaw get the win in the World Series clinching game, just to be like, here's this for you, Kershaw haters.
That's fair.
But
that was a line shot to Brandon Belt off the bat of what, Noisy? No, Beatty. That's Beatty.
Dodgers.
We do have some more trivia. We got some more trivia via probably Pete.
All right.
5th inning trivia via Baseball Reference. One of these players played for the Dodgers, Giants, Yankees, and Mets, the 4 original New York franchises, exclusively in their careers. So only played for those 4 teams.
Okay.
Who is it? Ricky Leedy, Jose Viscasio, Darryl Strawberry, or Terry Whitfield? I have my guess. I was right.
I'm just going to guess Darryl Strawberry.
I'm not sure if we have many people playing the trivia in the HotMic chat, but we'll wait and see.
I'm going to say Darryl Strawberry.
Solid guess. That's a solid guess. We'll wait to reveal the answer here in a bit.
I only know Strawberry on the Mets, so that very well could be wrong. Like DJ Peters. Ooh.
DJ Peters runs really awkwardly. The way he ran between first and second just looks super awkward. The Giants playing super deep in the outfield allows him to get to second.
Yeah. I mean, he's just trying to hustle because he wants to take that extra base. Because I was surprised I even went for it because, I just don't know much about DJ Peters, apparently.
That's fair.
Like, he was a top prospect, but this is a top prospect after 2020. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Exactly. Mike Tauchman, I don't think, has the greatest arm out there in center. He's not a bad arm. He's a quality player for sure still. But I feel like his arm could be better.
I mean, a lot of people out in Colorado, they don't like the Charlie Blackmon deal because he just has no arm in right field.
Oh, yeah. For sure. It's like
that's Chris an outfield Davis. Where you need an arm.
Oh, absolutely. I remember years ago when Chris Davis was still an A and he was still playing the outfield. He's playing left field. Me and my buddy went to an A's-Yankees game because tickets were $6 in the dump of they call it baseball stadium. Great play by Yastrzemski there to get out of the inning.
Yeah.
A great play by Yastrzemski. Anyway, but we went to see that game, and Chris Davis is in left. And you run on Chris Davis because his arm is well below average. Like he was struggling getting it from a probably a normal outfield position to the shortstop, to the cutoff guy. He was like one hopping into the cutoff guy.
Yeah.
Which is almost impressively bad.
Yeah. I could probably do that, but I'm not being paid millions of dollars.
Yeah, Chris Davis paid $18 million to do it.
I know people say, oh, why do you criticize athletes for doing something? And that's just my response. I'm not being paid to do it. I probably can't do it.
So
I'm not being paid millions of dollars.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
I mean,
anyway, it's
maybe when he wins a Gold Glove in the future,
How many pitches? Bueller's at 57 pitches.
Yeah, he's fine.
I'd rather him not be fine and leave this ballgame.
Almost everyone in San Francisco. Yeah, I almost said San Diego. San Francisco agrees with you.
Yeah, I'd rather if Bueller could just kind of casually throw like 40 pitches this inning, that'd be awesome. He won't, but
he won't. I mean, you got the workhorse out of the way.
Yeah, with Bauer.
126 pitches. That just feels.
Why does he throw so many pitches? Is that normal for him?
He normally throws over 100 in every start.
That's kind of weird. I've watched
every start of his this year, and there's been plenty of them where I'm like, all right, he's at like 96. You can pull him. It's the sixth inning. And then he just goes in for the seventh and then gets to like 110. I'm like, why?
Well, he had 126 yesterday. Only pitched 6 in the third.
Let us look at game logs.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because I'm like, especially with Bauer, who is like, I know he's a big numbers guy. He believes in analytics and all that. Like, you would think he doesn't want to throw 100-something pitches every day.
I mean, part of being a believer in the analytics, I think, would be like knowing his. If you watch him on YouTube, on his YouTube channel,
I do not.
He talks about how he wants to pitch like every fourth day or whatever.
That's fair.
So I'm surprised they haven't done that yet. He hasn't really had short rest. But he's a guy who will give you at least 90 pitches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, he has 6 outings where he's gone over 100 and 9 outings this year where he's gone 95 or more.
Okay, so he's basically good for 95-plus pitches no matter what.
Yeah, it's like you can criticize that deal all you want. You could have criticized it all you want. At his worst, he's still going to eat innings.
Well, yeah, but you don't pay an innings eater $40 million a year.
No.
I'm criticizing it because that's an absurd number. I'm sure they could have gone for less.
Yeah, I don't really understand it. But maybe Dave Roberts just loves having him pitch, and
maybe, I don't know,
because there have been plenty of times where I'm like, really, he's going back out there again?
Yeah. Do I think Trevor Bauer deserves to be the highest paid player in baseball? No, like not at all. Do I think he deserves to get paid well? Yeah, he's a good pitcher. Not he's $40 million a year good.
He just played the market really well.
He did. And I'll give him props for that.
If someone's gonna give you $40 million,
let him.
Yeah.
I think Bauer's the third best pitcher on his team. I think Bueller and Kershaw are better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That's not really saying much because those are also two like elite pitchers, but
I mean, Kershaw would be the ace for almost every team except for the Yankees, the Mets, the Cleveland baseball team. That's about it.
Right now, the Brewers with Woodruff, the Giants with Gausman.
Yeah, Woodruff and
take Gausman over Kershaw right now, at least. That's probably about it.
A lot of it's reputation, though.
Yeah, Woodruff definitely has been insane this year, though.
Yeah, Woodruff and Burns have both been insane this year.
Mm-hmm. One of the best 1-2s in baseball right now. Pitching wise. As far as starting pitching goes, the best 1-2s I think are probably Milwaukee, LA. The Dodgers have, whichever two you want to pick.
They have the best 1 through 3.
Yeah, I think so too. Once you start including a third pitcher in there,
that's where it drops off.
Yeah.
The Nats a few years ago could contend with that, with Corbin, Strasburg, and Scherzer, but
the Tigers of old, the early 2010s Tigers.
Oh yeah,
they could with when they had Scherzer, Verlander, Anibal Sanchez when he was still really really good. They had a bunch of guys. I think Matt Moore was pretty good in Detroit as well.
I mean, that 2014 rotation,
it was insane.
You have Rick Porcello.
Porcello, that's the guy I was forgetting.
You have Verlander, Porcello, David Price at the end of the year, Scherzer still. I think Anibal Sanchez was on that team.
I want to say Sanchez was part of that team as well.
It amazes me that team did not win a playoff game. With that, you would think in a short series.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I know nothing about the Tigers.
That's a Scott Bentley. Detroit legend Scott Bentley thing.
He can hate me all he wants for that. I don't pay attention to irrelevant teams.
Okay. Man.
Although they weren't irrelevant years ago.
Coming out with those fighting words.
Scherzer got lit up. Bullpen blew it. And then David Price losing a close one. So Scherzer had a bad game, and then David Price lost a 2-1 game.
Yeah.
So
we're going to top 6 here?
Top of the 6th.
Top of the 6th. Those last two outs by the Giants were smoked. Dubon's fly out was 101 off the bat. Tauchman was 98. But either way, top 6 here. We got some more trivia. Our 6th inning trivia. The last one was Darryl Strawberry. Darryl Strawberry was the correct answer.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew that one. That one was easy for me.
I didn't. I just guessed Darryl Strawberry.
I knew he was a Met and a Dodger and a Giant. So I'm like, well, it's a good chance he was all 4. Okay, so 6th inning trivia. Until yesterday's game, the last time that these two teams met when both were over 500 was when? 2014, 15, 16, or 18?
Do I get to know what the two teams are or no?
The Giants and the Dodgers. These two teams.
Okay. All right. Then it's 15.
Your options 14, 15, 16, and 18. There's Tropiano.
All right. 18, I feel like they started off. No, the Dodgers started off slowly. And then the Giants, I don't remember what happened. So 16, I feel like would be a good guess. 14 and 15, I think would also be decent guesses. I'm going to say 16.
16. I guess 14, but we'll see in a little bit what we got.
I just know it's not. I just don't think it's 18 because I think the Giants started off well, and then while the Dodgers didn't, and then it flipped.
Yeah, I
could be wrong.
I'm trying to think, it was 18 or I think because there's what was it?
18.
I think the Giants started off slow and got hot towards the end of the year. Actually, in 18.
18. I remember they played opening day, so that. So that's.
Oh no, 18. Yeah, I think you were right. The Giants were super hot, and then they were terrible after the All-Star break.
I knew the Dodgers started off slow. So
yeah, I want to say you were right about 18. The Giants were super hot to start 18, and then got super cold after the All-Star break.
Let's just confirm this. What an amazing tool the internet is.
Crazy.
I know I default to looking things up all the time, but if you can do it, like.
Fair, yeah.
It's not like it's not like these highly professional broadcasts where they have people looking it up for them. So
yeah, we look up our own stats here, and then Peyton gives us stats every now and then.
I am more than capable of using a computer.
I know how the internet works.
And I guess I'm not. That was a great defensive play from Crawford.
Crawford, elite defensive shortstop. No one can tell me otherwise.
Ooh, and now they're bringing up last night.
Yeah. God,
I was entertained, to say the least.
Talkman, who the Giants got from the Yankees earlier the season, he started off pretty hot with the Giants, and then he's cooled off tremendously. Like, I don't think it's viable to start him every day like they are.
I just don't know who else they would start.
I'm a big Austin Slater fan. Austin Slater, I think, is one of the best hitters on this team. Or what they could also do is, what makes it kind of tough right now is that they're using Dubon in the infield a lot right now. And so, but what you could do is Yaz can play center. You put Yaz in center, Dickerson in left or right, and Ruff in the other corner outfield. If you don't want to use Slater, because Ruff definitely has been the better hitter. But we did also just recently get Don and Solano back, who was out for a hot minute. But we wait.
I saw this the other day, and I thought it was interesting. The longest losing streak of the year belongs to the Royals. Yeah, they were the best team in baseball when that losing streak started. The longest winning streak belongs to the A's, and they were the worst team in baseball when it started.
That is kind of cool, actually. That's pretty cool, yeah. That's fun. Yeah, Rudy, who's does a lot of these our Sunday night watch parties. Ryan Rudy, he's a Royals fan, and there was one we were doing. He wasn't on the broadcast, and when the Royals were still good, I think, and then we were saying they were going to be really bad, or maybe I think it was the middle of their losing streak actually, and we were just poking fun at him, and he was in like the chat, and it was really funny. I feel like that's the first walk we've had in this game, and like since like the first inning.
That was the first walk I think given up by a Giants pitcher.
That sounds accurate. Yeah, that's right. First walk by the Giants pitching staff. Beeler also only has one. So, yeah. Kazmir, I'm still upset they took Kazmir out. I'm still a little mad about it. He was pitching so well.
Gotta ride a hot hand sometimes.
You're right. Sometimes
when Dave Roberts learned that, the Dodgers were good to go in the postseason, except with Kershaw apparently, because he does a lot and then he does too much, and then they lose, and everyone makes fun of him.
That's fair. Gabe Kapler just is an idiot, so I will slander Gabe Kapler forever.
Yeah, until this last year, I think a lot of people in LA were saying that Dave Roberts wasn't as great of a manager as they think he is.
Interesting. I think Roberts is a pretty good manager.
I think he's probably top
10.
Top 5, I would say. I would put Counsell. I think Counsell's the best manager in the majors.
Yeah, I don't know if I disagree with that. I feel that's a fair assessment.
I thought in the NLCS a few years ago, he outmanaged Dave Roberts.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely
fair. The Brewers outplayed the Dodgers. It's just talent, man. Sometimes talent wins out.
Yeah, sometimes it does. Yeah, Craig Counsell, I think you're right. Counsell's a really, really good manager.
Kevin Cash is a really good one, even though he now has one of the worst managing decisions to his name in
the history of baseball.
In World Series history.
At least, yeah. But I think overall, Cash is a really, really good manager.
But getting the Rays to the World Series when the bats went cold.
Incredible.
That's impressive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, who else is really good at managing? I think Alex Cora is doing a really good job this year.
Yeah, I mean, hard to argue with the results he's had. I'm a little more hesitant to say he is.
Yeah, so am I.
Connection to Houston. Same with AJ Hinch. I think, like, AJ Hinch, it's weird because he seemed like he was a really good manager, and, it comes out that he broke monitors and was against it, but why didn't you, tell someone higher up or, put a stop to it? Yeah. That's just a failure in leadership.
Yeah, I would agree for sure there.
And that's why you would have him. What's the point of having a manager if he's not going to lead your team?
Yeah, for sure.
So Tony La Russa was great 20 years ago.
Tony La Russa is the worst manager in baseball right now, in my opinion.
Even over Gabe Kapler.
Tony La Russa is just... He's... the White Sox are winning, but it is not because... Yeah, in spite of him, exactly. The White Sox are winning because they're playing subpar teams.
They're just talented.
And they're a very talented
wins
team.
Out.
Yeah. And Tony La Russa has definitely done a lot more harm than good there.
I mean, let's see. He cannot manage a bullpen to save his life.
Right.
Anymore.
He doesn't know the rules of extra innings or anything modern.
And, it doesn't help that he's okay with pitchers throwing at his own player.
Yeah, gosh, he is the imbecile.
That's
awful.
I mean, I'm fine if a manager's like, okay, don't swing at a 3-0 pitch. Personally, I don't care. If it's a good pitch, swing at it.
Right.
Also,
don't say, hey, it's fine if you hit my guy.
Yeah.
That's just blasphemous. That's horrific.
No. He's another guy where it's just failure to lead.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not even a failure of just a failure to lead, and that's a worse crime than any in-game decisions.
I agree, for sure.
But
also, you're lucky there wasn't a runner on first, or else Pujols would have gone to a double play again.
What a shock.
It was also 2 outs, but ground out to third.
Impossible to get a double play.
I feel like that part of the order for the Dodgers is like Muncy is. I mean, he's like an average runner. Turner's an average runner.
Muncy's better than people like. He's athletic. He's not great. He's not like, oh, he's gonna steal on you, but he's a better runner than people give him credit for.
Yeah, I was curious about it earlier. I looked it up. He's the 49th percentile in sprint speed, so he's about average.
Yeah,
like, he's not terrible. Average is like that's not bad. Like he's a decent runner.
Yeah, he's like an average runner.
Yeah, like he's not going to steal anything, but he knows how to run the bases.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, but like
he was also in a Bud Light commercial running from second to home.
Yeah, that's true.
I was bragging about that to a lot of people. Like, hey, look, that's Max Muncy.
Look, it's Max Muncy. He's doing the things.
They could have gotten anyone from they could have picked any major league player, and they're like, Max Muncy.
Let's go with this guy. This guy seems like the right pick.
But
let me see here. Who else?
It's hard not to like him.
Good. Yeah, I don't like him. But
maybe if you're a Giants fan.
It's mostly because of the get out of the ocean like stuff. Like I hated that so much.
Yeah, and I think it's hilarious, but that's like
also as a Giants fan, so like it makes sense.
But like that's a Dodgers. That's just part of the rivalry,
right?
You know, like I don't like Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
yeah,
that's because he was basically Joe Flacco for he has one insane postseason and he's still making money off of it.
Hey, he was really good in San Francisco, and he's been awful in Arizona. He's been terrible in Arizona.
Yeah, way to replace Zach Greinke.
Yeah, oh yeah. But actually, he's having a decent year this year, if I remember correctly. Let me look it up. Because I think he's having an okay year. Like, not worth his contract.
But it's not like we're going to pay you max money or $20 million a year.
Exactly. He does have a MLB notable achievement.
Notable achievement.
It's so dumb. It's a no-hitter. It's a no-hitter.
I love seeing on MLB TV. It's like Madison Bumgarner pitches 7 hitless innings. And I'm like, that's cool.
In a 7-inning game.
Let's just say it was a 7-inning no-hitter.
Yeah, like if you're gonna make, this is what my stance on it has been the whole time. If you're gonna make official game 7 innings and a pitcher throws 7 no-hit innings and then it's a no-hitter, what is he supposed to do? Extend the game by 2 innings? Like,
yeah,
it's not his fault.
It's an official game. Like, it's just stupid. Like going into the game, it's like, well, he can't get a no-hitter because
exactly.
What happens if it's a perfect game? Because it's no base runners. No base runners in a perfect game. But you have the ghost runner in a 7-inning. You have the ghost runner now.
Yeah, in extra innings. So
are they just not going to say it's a perfect game? There's only been 23 of them ever.
Right. You're right. And I think
why would you take that away from someone?
Exactly. And I think the John Means no-hitter earlier this year, that it was pretty like highly contested or like controversial because the base runner came on a drop third strike.
Yeah, it was nothing the pitcher did.
Yeah, exactly. But it became really controversial for a while until I think most of the baseball community was like, no, it's a no-hitter because there's a base runner. And like technically it's like an error on the pitcher throwing a wild pitch or whatever, all that. I'm like, I mean, technically you're not wrong, but also like
it's on the catcher.
Yeah, like
in my opinion,
I don't know how to feel about it. I just John Means like it's probably one of, if not the most impressive no-hitter. That's for sure.
It's more impressive than the notable achievement from Bumgarner.
Right.
At least he now has like his own place in like statistical lore. Like a Maddox is a complete game shutout with less than 100 pitches. I'm just going to call 7-inning no-hitters mad bums. They're mad bums now.
Yeah. Or like the 20 strikeout games to Kerry Wood. Like,
or maybe we could call it a Mason Saunders game.
Yep. There you go. There's a lot. I don't know. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't know. I think when MLB made that decision to like said that 7 innings not a no-hitter, they didn't think it was going to happen. And then it did. And so they're like, well,
it's the year of the no-hitter. It's always going to happen now.
Exactly.
I'm sick of these. I want Williams Astudillo to throw a no-hitter.
Yep. Give me the position player no-hitter.
Because, and I was going to say this earlier, all unwritten rules are thrown out the window when the position player is pitching.
That's fair, yeah.
Don't go saying unwritten rules when the backup catcher is like, all right, I'm going to
lob 47 in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. For sure. It's just, it was dumb.
It's incredibly foolish.
Absolutely. But I mean, like, so you just said you're tired of the no-hitters. Like, I would love there to be a no-hitter thrown every week. I love watching no-hitter. I love watching pitching. And so, like, just...
I mean, I like pitching, but I also like offense because when I go to a baseball game, I never expect a 3-2 pitchers duel. It's like, it's going to be a slugfest.
A 9-7 slugfest.
I mean, it's always 7 runs, and if the Rockies score 7 runs, everyone gets free tacos. It's been that way for the last decade. It's a smart promotion because they'll never score 7 runs again, it feels like. But
that's fair, honestly. Teams will go into Colorado and score 7 runs, if that counts.
I think the last Dodgers-Rockies game I went to, it was like 2 years ago. Final score 12-9.
Oh.
Pitcher for the Dodgers that day.
Interesting. How many give up? Remember?
Nope. But that's what the internet's for.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But that was a crazy game. I think Chris Taylor had the go-ahead home run at the top of the 9th. And everyone's just leaving. And always fun when you win against a division rival.
I'd agree.
Doesn't matter how good or how bad they are. It just feels more satisfying.
Right. 100%. And then also, like, you have... Like, I know we talked about this last week, I think, on HotMic, is no matter, like, with Dodgers-Giants, no matter what state, it's usually lately it's been the Giants, like, how bad the Giants are in a given year, it's going to be a close game, no matter what.
It's a good series.
Like, you rarely have blowouts. Yeah. It's rare you have a blowout. 12-8, okay.
And Walker Buehler, he pitched 5 2/3, gave up 7 runs.
That's not very good. I would say that's not fantastic.
And Pedro Baez got the win in that game because,
Because baseball.
Yeah. And Kenley did his best to try and screw everything up like he did. Like he is capable of doing. I just didn't think it was a good idea for him to pitch in Denver, but...
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
With his previous heart conditions.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's hard to. It's an adjustment. Like, you have to drink a lot of water. You have to stay hydrated. It's hell. Like, the Broncos. It's a famous sign locally. Outside of the visitors' locker room, they have a sign that says altitude sickness is real.
Huh.
As a way to, like, psych people out.
That's fair. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
I mean, it works.
Oh yeah.
100%. I mean, I've seen a lot of games where you just have people on the sidelines getting oxygen. And before I went to college and, like, didn't have to deal with going back and forth too much, I'm like, haha. I live here year round. I can adjust to it easier.
I'm used to it.
Yeah.
That's
every place has that, like, quirk where, like, you're just kind of used to it. But, like, if you're an outsider, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, I know so I live in Boise, in Idaho. And in Boise, it's definitely, like, the city specifically, we have a lot of one-way roads, like, in our downtown area. And so, unless you live here, you're just like, why are there so many one-way roads? Like, which ones are which way? I'm like, just take this one, the next right, like the next left, whatever. And so when my family was here recently, they're like, why? And I'm like, it's just the way it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin Barnes strikes out this time around.
And that was low and away.
Yep, Champion.
He's been pretty good.
I really thought he was going to crack the opening day bullpen. They didn't. And I was kind of sad.
Well, what does Gabe Kapler know?
Literally nothing. Like, Gabe Kapler is terrible.
I think if the two of us do more of these hot mics, we're just going to default to that. What does he know?
Like, literally absolutely nothing. I will slander Gabe Kapler literally every chance I get. Like, yeah, not good. Gabe Kapler bad.
What was the answer to the trivia question that we asked?
The record one?
Yep.
That's going to score Red Lux. I'm almost certain of it. Especially if Yastrzemski bobbles it right.
80. That's going to score Lux. He's been on fire since May.
Yastrzemski, it looked like an error, right?
It looked pretty good to me, but
I think it's going to be a double with an error that allows him to get to third. Yeah, because absolutely.
That's a double anywhere, it's just...
Yeah. Double with an error, one base error.
Yeah, that's a one base error. Because he doesn't get to third if not for that error.
Absolutely.
But I think the runs still... I mean, Lux probably would have scored either way, so it's an earned run, but...
I think he scores either way there. I agree. But
yeah, they charged Tropiano with the earned run.
So. Yeah, I think rightfully so.
Lux has been really good. I think he's finally comfortable in the majors, and we're seeing why he was the Dodgers' top prospect.
Ooh, single by whatever his name is, Peters.
DJ Peters.
Love when literally nobody's really getting these whatever hits. They're driving runs.
Yeah, I mean they're just insurance runs at this point. How many pitches is Bueller?
I think he's at
I wonder if they'll have him bat here because I don't think there's many outs. Or I don't think it's like all right, 1 out.
Yeah, he's batting.
He's batting. Oh boy. Oh boy.
But anyway, yeah, the answer to the trivia question was the last time these two teams were both over 500 was 2018.
2018.
2018.
Maybe it was the Dodgers. I was thinking like early in the season.
I think the Giants in 2018, if I remember correctly, I can actually look it up. I think the Giants were really hot.
For a bit. They might have just been over 500 for a little bit.
I think it had to have been the beginning of the season because the Giants were really hot, if I remember correctly, the beginning of the year, or like to start the season, or towards the beginning of the season. I could be wrong. Let me find out. Let me see.
Schedule
the Giants were. Let me think here. Let me see. Yeah, they were over 500, like hovering around 500 up until about the 100 game mark.
Yeah, they probably would have played by that point.
Yeah, they're very much just hovering around that 100 or like 500. Yeah, here we go. This is 2018, game 121. Game 121. The Giants were 61-60. And I'm just assuming the Dodgers were over 500. I think it's a safe assumption.
Well, if it's game 161 was the last game they
it was 121
above 500.
It was
game 121. Game 121. Dodgers were 64-57. So there are a few games above 500. Yeah, there were a few games back of the Rockies, but
the Giants were 61-60. So, oh yeah, that was a weird year because that was the year the Rockies and Diamondbacks made it to the wild card game, right?
No, that was 17.
Is that 17?
Yeah. I thought the Diamondbacks would be good that year, and then they kind of weren't, and it was disappointing. Not that disappointing, but disappointing.
Disappointing enough.
Disappointing for them. I think Torey Lovello is a good manager, but I can't tell because like all their players, they're streaky. It feels like.
Oh yeah, for sure. I need to chop one out too.
That was the year I stopped saying game because I always would say like, oh, not every game matters. It doesn't matter until your team's playing game 163.
That's fair, yeah.
And that early loss in April comes back to bite you in the butt.
Right, exactly.
So I've watched every. I don't think I've missed a Dodgers game in like 2 years.
Nice. Yeah.
So
I watch as much Giants as I can.
But that's what happens when you're a college student, and
oh yeah,
you have as much free time. You have a lot of free time. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just finished college, so I'm gonna have a lot less free time. But
yeah,
this like summer, I'm fine. But the early season and then like the late season, is definitely what becomes a little bit tough to watch. Like every game.
Yeah, I just schedule it in.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, sorry, I can't. I'm busy. I've got something to do.
Yeah. It's just like become built in almost. Like it's just habit. Dodgers are on at this time. I'm going to be watching at least part of it. I don't always watch the full games because sometimes it just gets to a point where you're like, okay, they're up 12-0 or they're up and their bullpen's in. I don't care.
Yeah, that's fair. They're up by like a ton of runs. And with the Dodgers, I feel like that happens fairly frequently. So
it does, or if they're down a lot, that is a possibility at times.
Right.
Because baseball's weird. You can just never rule it out. I mean, didn't the Giants win by 15 the other day?
They
scored
won by
19 runs.
Yeah, right before the series. And now here we are.
Incapable of scoring a run. Because yesterday, I think their only run was off of an error.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Throwing error. By
Bauer.
And the Giants definitely could have, I think anyway, could have scored 2 on that play. And they didn't send the second runner. And we lost 2-1. So I was like, what if? What if?
It's not the biggest what if in Giants history, though. I'll say that much.
Also true. Also
I don't know what the biggest one is, but
let me think on that. I'll get back to you on that one.
I don't know. What if Barry Bonds wins a World Series, maybe?
Yeah, the 2002. What if they won in 2002?
What if they didn't choke in Game 6?
Okay. All right.
I think that one's like the big one.
Yeah.
Again, I was an infant at that time, so
I was like a solid 3 years old, in 2002.
Yeah, I was 10 months old when that World Series was happening.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other ones.
And Crawford hits a double off the wall.
Oh, you're ahead of me now. Oh, because mine froze. You love to see that, though. Crawford's been mashing this year. It's been awesome to watch.
I thought that was out of the park. So
he does have 11 home runs on the year already.
Yeah, isn't he? I think he leads all shortstops.
I'd imagine so. He's like tied 8th in the league, I believe.
Yeah.
So, I'd imagine he leads all shortstops. I don't think I can check really quick. Actually, I don't know why I'm hypotheticalizing this. This is information I can look up.
Yeah. Stathead, Baseball Reference.
Yeah, so he has 11, and Escobar plays 3rd, right? Eduardo Escobar. He plays 2nd. Never mind. So yes. Yes, he does lead all shortstops.
Yeah, I'm just going to
he's tied for 1st. Semien also has 11.
Semien has 11?
Yeah.
I was going to say, who's the next one up?
Yeah, but that double by Crawford, 103 off the bat, 24 launch angle, 402 feet.
How many?
Lucky you didn't get out.
Yeah, because those
are home run projections right there.
Yeah. Mine isn't updating. Let's just update my Baseball Savant feed real quick. Because it was still showing Albert Pujols as at bat in the 6th inning. So
yeah.
Brandon Crawford 103 for expected batting average is
860.
860. That's
pretty good, I would say. Pretty solid.
Yeah. I wish it would say, "Oh, this is a home run in all these parks."
That information is available somewhere. I just don't know where it is. Because that's something I know you can look up.
All right, tied for the lead with Semien, Escobar, and Tatis.
Oh, they all have 11?
Yep.
No, I didn't look close enough then.
And then Trey Turner and Baez are at 10. Mm-hmm. And Corey Seager is at 4, tied for 20 or for tied for 25th.
Impressive. Yeah.
A World Series hangover is real.
Yeah, that's the early 2010s Giants who win every other year.
They just took every other year off.
Yeah, pretty much. It was super weird. I think that's a big Giants what if. Like, what if they were consistently good throughout all those years?
That would be a good what if.
Yeah, it's super weird. Like, because, you win the World Series in 2010 and then you're just awful in 2011. You win it again in 2012 and then you're not very good in 2013. And then you win again in 2014. And then you're like mediocre-ish, like kind of okay-ish still in 15, but then that's kind of the end of your run.
Well, they were good in 16. They were the wild card team.
They were good in 16.
LDS.
Yeah.
And then 17, god awful. 18, they kind of gear up for another run.
Oh,
because they have an older core.
That ball off the bat of Evan Longoria drops between 3 Dodgers.
Why am I not surprised?
Pop-ups are hard in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it looked like the sun was right at Taylor ties.
The sun, the wind. The wind's also blowing pretty hard.
Yeah.
Who's playing center for y'all today? Is that Taylor?
Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah, Lux didn't really have much of a chance. Muncy definitely didn't have a chance of that ball.
It's just... I think the sun just got in their eyes and...
Oh, absolutely.
But the Giants are definitely threatening right now. They have Alex
runners at the corners.
Up. So, not sure if you're... I don't know if you're totally confident if you see Alex Dickerson up, but...
I'll put it this way. I mean, at least against Bueller, he's had good at-bats so far today. And,
he has had good at-bats.
If I'd pick a Giant to like run into a home run, Dickerson's higher up on that list as opposed to lower. I think he'd probably be sitting around 5 or 6 on the list for me.
Yeah.
But to make contact's a different story. Like when he does hit the ball, he usually hits it pretty hard, but he has to hit the ball.
Yeah. I think this was going to be the last inning for Bueller. I don't know.
Pitch counts.
I wonder if this might be the last at bat.
It could be because Dubon's up. Oh no, he might face Dubon as well. If Dickerson can flare one to the left while bringing Crawford.
It's all.
So now it's a 4-1 game with Giants still 2 runners on. And Dubon coming up, and this might be the end for Bueller, like you just said.
Yeah. You said he might flare one to left. I'm like, maybe. And then it happens. I'm like, all right, he was ahead.
No, yeah, that wasn't a he might. It's like he flared one to left. Yeah, I think I might be a little bit ahead of you.
Yeah, I'm watching it on MLB TV, so.
So am I. But so I don't know why I'm ahead of you.
Maybe the Wi-Fi in Boise is that much faster. But I'm also streaming other things right now. Like I've got the NBA playoffs going on. I got Stanley Cup playoffs going on. And bandwidth is...
Yeah, no, I've got this.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's not like I'm in the 4th inning or something, Like,
oh yeah, for sure. But who's that in your bullpen? Vesia? I don't know.
Vesia.
Any good?
I haven't been a fan of what he's done this year. I think it's just kind of he's all right, but he's not going to pitch in the playoffs.
That's fair.
Very much.
I will say this: Dubon's been pretty good this year so far. He's gotten hot as of late. Like I think 2 weeks ago, he's hitting close to 200. I think he's hitting like 260 now.
Wasn't he a top prospect or top young player a few years ago?
I believe he was close. Well, so he was in the Brewers organization, and we got him in 2019 for who did we trade? Pomeranz. Yeah, for Drew Pomeranz. He was a returned Pomeranz deal, and I think he was a top 100 prospect at the time, like lower end top 100.
Yeah,
I think somewhere in like the 80s. Either still a top 100 prospect though. I think
good return for Pomeranz too.
Let me think. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was a good return for Pomeranz. He's been a pretty good everyday guy for the Giants. He's been slotting at second a lot in center field because when Donovan Solano kind of emerged out of nowhere, like Dubon was kind of getting a little less time, but he can play the infield. He doesn't play first, but he can play for second, short, and third, and he plays center field as well. He was a really good center field too. So he's been, I think, pretty solid for us. I've been a fan.
I think this is going to be his last batter, and then they'll bring in Vezina to finish the inning, and then go to someone else. Because Vezina, he's just kind of a low leverage kind of. That would be like my armchair scouting report.
Fair enough. You got Ruff on deck because the pitcher spot's 8th now. Because Duggar came in, Steven Duggar pinch hit, saving the game at center. Talking came out of the game.
Yeah.
Steven Duggar, also a player I'm not a huge fan of. I've been known to slander Steven Duggar as well.
I don't talk. I mean, Vezina, I just think he's a low leverage guy. There's only one Dodgers player I just do not like, or former Dodgers player I do not like. And he is currently manning the hot corner down south.
Machado?
Yep.
Fair enough.
Not a fan of his. I mean, it was hard, in high school, trying to defend him. I'm like, I really don't want to, but he's kind of their shortstop, and I can't let these people win.
Right.
But
so Bueller's thing in this game to face Darren Ruff.
That's righty.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you have that platoon matchup going for you.
Right.
And getting that last out is big on Dubon. Sure. Getting Dubon to strike out. Now, the odds of scoring are less likely. You can just have him finish the inning. And you're good.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially is going to start painting corners.
This is the last batter, 100%.
I think it's definitely his last batter.
Yeah. One way or the other. I mean, I think they have Vezina in the bullpen still, so.
Yeah, he's definitely ready to come in if need be.
But and it would only be getting one. So
that's true. Darren Ruff can definitely run into one for sure. He's got a lot of power.
Yes, he does.
He looks like the kind of guy who has a lot of power, too. Oh, that's cool. Well, that's awesome. Love that as Ruff strikes out. Cool.
And thanks, I'm not live, so I'm like, I feel like I'm just 15 seconds behind, and it's
you're real behind then, huh?
It's like 15 seconds, but I think he was up to 2 strikes, but
oh, well, he struck out.
Yeah, I figured. I figured he struck out.
Yeah.
But it does not matter.
Yeah, so that's got to be the end of the night for Wheeler, I'd imagine.
It has to be. Unless, like, he has the Trevor Bauer, I'm going to force you to put me in for another inning, Dave Roberts, or another at bat. But Bauer, he normally gets this pitch count around the 6th inning, and then he'll stick around for the 7th for like a batter or two.
Right. That's something I definitely noticed yesterday. Bauer's pitch count gets super high super fast.
He tries to strike people out.
Yeah, he's definitely a strikeout first pitcher. He's not like when describing pitchers, like, oh, he's a ground ball guy, he's a fly ball guy. No, Trevor Bauer's a strikeout first pitcher. Yeah. And so it costs him a lot of extra pitches, I feel like.
It also works for him.
It does. It has been sure.
And he's not one of those guys who, like, Blake Snell's a example of this. Like, Blake Snell, great pitcher, former Cy Young winner. If the Rays somehow won the World Series last year, probably would have been the World Series MVP. Not that really matters now, but great pitcher. But if he gets up in the count, his night's over. And Bauer doesn't seem to mind that.
Oh, yeah.
Although he did really struggle at first outing as a Dodger. He had a no-hitter going through 6, and then allows a single.
Blown up, right?
Yeah, allows a single, allows a home run, walk, home run, strikeout, night's over.
Yeah.
And then had an inflated ERA, but he is prone to get blown up in the 7th inning.
Yeah.
If you're going to get Bauer, that's the time to do it.
For sure. And that's where he struggled last night, too. He was struggling in the 7th. Like laboring through those last, or the end of that outing. Oh, come on, Steven Duggar.
Okay.
It's the only...
That's a 2-base error.
All he's good for is defense. And he can't even do that, apparently. That. Come on. He was brought in as a defensive replacement, too. I don't... Literally, it's in your glove. Yastrzemski could have got it, too. Yes, it's right there.
It's like the old football adage, if you can touch it, you can catch it.
Yeah.
Perfectly applicable here. I mean, that's well within range of getting caught.
Yeah, should have been caught, absolutely. See if Alvarez can pitch out of this, though. Not allow another run, hopefully.
Yeah, that's a terrible break for the Giants. That's just unlucky. Well, unlucky for Duggar. Lucky for Turner.
Duggar is bad at baseball. That's what that is. Yeah, I'm not a huge Steven Duggar fan. I've had other, my buddies ask me about him. He's like, what do you think about Duggar? I'm like, I don't like him. Same thing with when Mac Williamson was a Giant. He's one of those guys that gets brought up and down a lot. And I think he shouldn't be on the Major League roster. And, Duggar's up. I don't know why he's still up. I think we have... Do we have anyone on the... No, we don't have anyone on the IL in the outfield right now, so I don't know why he's still up. I'd imagine he might get sent down tomorrow, honestly.
That's how I feel about Sheldon Noisy. It's just like, he's a guy who I think should be in the minors right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Corey Seager hurt, starting shortstop. He's going to see more playing time. Zach McKinstry pretty much can play anywhere.
Yeah.
Super utility kind of guy.
So, Enrique Hernandez replacement.
Yeah. And Muncy rips one the opposite way. Smart move by Turner not to go home, in my opinion.
I think he should have gone. He probably got thrown out. That's why I say that. But
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think your right fielder can make that throw, and
yeah. But I mean, see who's in left right now for us. I think it's Dickerson. Dickerson's got a decent arm. Not great. Not
I mean,
awful.
he was shallow enough where it's a contested, and it's contested enough at home. And Buster Posey, at least in my opinion, future Hall of Famer.
He is absolutely a future Hall of Famer. Like, he's the best catcher of this generation.
Sorry, Yachty.
No, it's not even. I'm not even sorry about it. Like,
well, most people say. I always thought Posey was better.
It's because he is.
Molina is great defensively, but he is below average and pretty much has been, save for like when he was 27 and 28.
Yeah. And I mean, so I've had this argument. I remember because we recently, just brought on a bunch of new writers and such. There was a Cardinals guy. I don't remember who it was exactly off the top of my head. Came in like guns up blazing. He's like, Yadier Molina is the best catcher of the generation. And me being the only Giants guy who works for Diamond Digest, I'm like, absolutely not, sir. You are wrong. Like, and then everyone else is like, no, like, dude, you're wrong. Like, they're defending Posey because Posey's a generational talent at catcher.
Posey has been robbed of All-Star game appearances because Yadier Molina is more marketable.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And it's tough.
But I mean, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you like, oh, if he's a great defensive catcher, but it's not one of those things where like he's sacrificing. He's not sacrificing his defense to hit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I thought it was a little weird a few years ago when they chose Joey Bart. I'm like, you guys have Buster Posey.
Well, so with Bart, the thing is also Pujols got his RBI single.
Yeah.
Pujols is bad. But they chose Bart to be Posey's successor. And it very much looks like it's going to be the case because Bart's not quite ready yet. He needs another year, and Posey's contracts, he has a team option next year. So the timeline actually worked out, and Bart's expected to be the catcher of the future. So that's why I picked him there. And it made a lot of sense in my head. But then they picked Patrick Bailey like last year. I'm like, okay, that's also another like catcher of the future kind of deal. I'm like, you don't need two. I think Bart's gonna work out fine.
I mean, you can never have enough. Like the Dodgers a few years ago, they had 4 elite prospects: Lux, Will Smith, Dustin May, and Keibert Ruiz, and 2 of them were catchers.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen to Keibert Ruiz because it just like Barnes is there for a few more years. Will Smith looks legit. You had that tandem, so I think Ruiz could be a good catcher. I just don't know if he'll be a good catcher on the Giants or not on the Dodgers. He could be a good catcher on the Giants.
You think that LA is going to give him to San Francisco in any case scenario? I don't think so.
That stranger things have happened.
This is true. Also, the Giants' organizational depth at catcher is also really good. So
yeah, they're not going to trade for a catcher.
Right.
At least right now. I didn't think Joey Bart. I watched a few Giants games last year. He just did not look ready.
Yeah, he's not ready. I think he's going to be really good. He's just not ready yet. Like last year, because Posey took the year off because of COVID. Yeah. So last year, I'm like, Bart, give him a season. Give him the shortened season. Like, see if he's like what we're working with. He just needs another year, maybe 2, probably not 2, but like another year, I think.
Yeah.
So
that's how I felt about. Yeah, that's how I felt about Lux. Like, I think if there was a minor league season in 2020, he probably would have started there. Would he have much to prove? I don't know. It might have been like a Jared Kelenic in AAA this year situation where it's like, did those 6 games really change our opinion of him?
That's service time manipulation at its finest.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I don't like any of that.
No, it's dumb.
Play your best players. But the Dodgers have not had to deal with that issue because they're contending. They just have genuine just like gridlocks at every position pretty much. Like the big one that comes up is Cody Bellinger. Like, you could say his service time was manipulated, but he came up as a first baseman initially. Had a first baseman. Yeah, he was originally a first baseman. He was a good defender at first, but and that's why they moved him to the outfield. So
he's a good outfielder.
He's a great outfielder. I mean, I thought he should have won the Gold Glove last year.
Who won it instead of last year for the NL?
Trent Grisham.
Oh, that's right. Grisham was also really good last year.
He was.
But
I mean, I'll take the World Series ring. I'll take the Tatis home run robbery. Home run robbery is why I say he should have won it. You know, after the voting was over.
That's fair.
But he's good in center field.
Yeah, he's a good defender. It's just for sure.
When they called him up as a first baseman to replace Adrian Gonzalez, and then they find Muncy, and they're like, he's a really good bat, but we don't know what position he is, so let's put him in the infield.
First. Either put him at first or put him in left.
And then you go from there.
Pretty much. Also had a question in the HotMic chat, I think it's already answered. It's like, is the Giants Stadium the only one right next to a bay and not a river? And I believe so. I believe all the other stadiums in baseball that are like on water are all by rivers. But the Giants
the big one that comes to mind is the Pirates.
Yeah,
they're on the river.
Cincinnati, I believe, is also on a river.
I think so, because their old stadium was called Riverfront, and I'd imagine
that would make sense.
I'd imagine they'd keep it in the same area.
Yeah, for sure.
But
they could be wrong, but
yeah. Here's my question. Will Buster Posey return to the Giants?
See, here's the thing. I'm not sure the Giants want Buster Posey back. Like I mean, they do, like, because he's been the guy.
He's been their franchise player for the last decade.
Right. But if he keeps this season up, I think they definitely bring him back. But like I said, Bart's kind of ready in the minors, or he should be at the end of the season, at least for next year. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they do with him. Also, I think it depends on what they want to do with Brandon Belt. Because he's going to be a free agent as well. So I don't know.
You're going to probably want to get another shortstop. Like, no disrespect to Brandon Crawford, but there's another generational shortstop who's younger out in the market.
Several of them.
Yeah.
And the Giants
just say one because you're not going to sign multiple.
Yeah, for sure. But I know the Giants haven't been shy about the fact that they're probably moving on from Crawford this offseason. That's also before, I mean, like, granted, we're like 45 games into the year.
Yeah.
But Crawford is having a really, really good year so far. But yeah, a lot of the talk's been about Seager, Correa. It was Lindor before he got re-signed in New York. But Seager's the one I see the most often.
Had to get that.
So.
Lindor had to get that extra $1 million just to top Tatis.
Yeah. So another question in the chat: has anyone taken a kayak out to Giant Stadium just waiting for a ball? So yeah, actually, if you watch any Giants games in Oracle or at Oracle, there are a lot of people usually out in McCovey Cove, which is the water right outside the stadium. There's one guy in particular. His name is Dave, McCovey Cove Dave. He is out there pretty much every Giants home game, hoping for a splash hit. But there, you'll see a lot of like kayaks, paddle boards, boats out there in the cove of people hoping to kind of get foul balls or home runs. So the answer is yes. Short answer, yes.
It's a beautiful stadium, and I always love seeing the kayaks when there's a ball hit out there. So
it's cool. It's cool to watch.
I mean, you see the people. You see the stadium rankings, the completely subjective stadium rankings. It always has Oracle up there. Right, it's a beautiful place to watch a ball game, and I think McCovey Cove is part of that.
For sure. And I think, stadium rankings, I think you'll always see, like something I say a lot, a pretty well-regarded stadiums around baseball, like a pretty consensus top 4 stadiums are Oracle, PNC, Fenway, and Wrigley. Like, those are pretty consensus top 4. Like, I don't know what else we really see up there.
And then there's like that second tier, and that's where you get like Petco Park, Dodger Stadium, Coors Field. A lot of the newer parks that opened in like the 90s.
Right.
That just aged really well.
Exactly.
Progressive Field, I think, is another one I love watching games on TV there.
Yeah, that's fair. And I know, and like T-Mobile or Seattle also.
Yeah, Seattle's is a great place
there for sure. But something I say a lot when talking about stadiums, I think Oracle is the best modern stadium. So when you talk about best stadiums, you always have Wrigley and Fenway up there, they're both really cool stadiums. They're like historically great. Oracle's, I think, the best of the modern group.
And I would say Dodger Stadium's probably the best one built in that like multi-purpose stadium era.
That's fair.
There aren't many stadiums from the 60s around still. It's Wrigley, Fenway, and then Dodger Stadium and Angel Stadium have been around forever, and then all the new waves stadiums.
I think Oakland's been around that long, but they're also a trash fire, so
they don't count. They don't count.
You're not wrong.
They bring the composite rankings. Like they make correct. Dodger Stadium look worse because they were built in the same decade.
Let me look it up really quick. I'm now curious.
I think it opened in '68, same year as Candlestick Park.
That sounds right.
Or they are not same year as Candlestick Park, but that was when the A's
were around the same.
Yeah, because it used to be Kezzer.
So Oakland Alameda County Stadium. Simply known as Oakland Coliseum, rebranded. It's currently Ring Central Coliseum, which I've never heard anybody call it ever.
No one calls it that.
No one calls it that. When was it built? Let me see. Stadium
opened 1966.
Yep.
The A's moved there in '68.
It was renovated in the 90s. They didn't do a very good job, apparently.
No, they did not. But it's one of those things where I don't think it I don't think it was built for baseball specifically, and that's why you don't see many of these multi-purpose stadiums around anymore.
True.
I think the only one that's still around is Angel
Whoa! Stadium. There's the ball deep to left by Buster Posey. Out over the cars in left field. 2-run home run, 9th of the season for Buster.
Yeah.
6-3 ball game.
I was right when I said Vezzy is a low leverage pitcher.
Yeah, you're right.
I can't even be mad. I don't like Buster Posey because he's a giant, but that's the only reason. I love him otherwise.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that I'm like, I can't like them, but I like them, you know?
I'm not allowed to like Buster Posey, but...
Yeah. I'm not supposed to like Clayton Kershaw, but like I do.
I've never met anyone out in Colorado who's like, it's always like, I hate the Dodgers, but I love Kershaw because... Or like, it's at least I respect Kershaw. Like, I have nothing against him.
Yeah, it's like
he's
I love watching. I love watching Kershaw pitch as long as it's not against the Giants. Like,
yeah, as long as it's not against your favorite team.
Exactly. Like Kershaw, fantastic pitcher, best pitcher of our generation.
He's part of the reason why I'm a Dodgers fan. You know?
Yeah. See, there you go. Like, yeah, you have these guys who are just insane. Right.
There are just some players who transcend rivalries, and
exactly.
I would say Buster Posey's one of them. He's the best catcher of the last decade. Cardinals fans, I'm sorry,
eat your heart out. Sure, Yachty stands.
I don't think Yadier Molina's been an above-average hitter for like 5 years.
It's true.
So let's look it up.
Back to the Oakland. I'm going to keep slandering Oakland Coliseum.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, so it was built as like a multi-sport Coliseum, multi-purpose, baseball, football, soccer, even. But I mean, any football stadium can easily be turned into a soccer stadium.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gone through a bunch of name changes. I remember it as O.Co Coliseum a lot because that made sense in my head. Because like the Coliseum, it was O.Co.
Yeah. But I started watching football when it was called O.Co.
Yeah.
And the Broncos would always play the Raiders.
Yeah, at O.Co Coliseum.
Oh. Let's see. Yadier Molina this year has an OPS plus of 136. Okay.
That's actually good.
I already have a base to take, but over the last 4 years, he has an OPS plus of 94. He has been 6% below the average hitter.
Right.
But let's extend that back to 2014. He's at 96. He has 3 years.
Far below average, but below average.
Yeah, like he has 3 years. I mean, 4 currently, but 3 full years where he is at an OPS plus of above 120. Okay. That's like, so like that's good, but those come in your age 28 to 30 seasons. And then since he's just been below average.
Yeah. And granted, I'll give it up for his longevity as well. I mean, it's hard to be a catcher for that long.
I mean, he's caught 2,000 games with one team. I can't do that.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
I can't.
I think he's a Hall of Famer, but it's not because of his bat.
Yeah, absolutely.
His bat, it's like, we'll deal with it because he's great defensively.
Exactly. Agreed.
But I would say he's overrated just a little bit.
I agree. Yeah. I just think when people try to say he's better than Buster, that's when I get mad. I'm like, no, that's just a lie.
It's like when people It's when people are like, Kershaw's a terrible postseason pitcher. I'm like, well, actually, and then I'll pull out all the numbers, and I'm like, he's just not as good.
He's not amazing. He's not bad though.
It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He has these amazing outings. Game 1 of the World Series, 2017. Amazing outing. And then he has Game 5 of that World Series. Horrible outing.
Yeah.
It's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with him in the postseason.
Yeah, people just remember the bad ones because he's expected to be good. So,
yeah.
When he's really, really bad, you remember it.
It's just, I mean, in a winner-take-all game, I'd rather have Buehler up. But
that's fair. I don't think that's a wrong choice.
But, like, that doesn't change my opinion about Clayton Kershaw being one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Absolutely.
I mean, he does have the most strikeouts in a postseason for a career.
Yeah, because he's consistently there. He is still, Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
So he might be giving up, 4 or 5 runs, which is not really like him, but he's still striking out 11 guys.
Yeah. You're playing the best of the best. You're not playing the dregs of your division anymore.
Yeah, you're not playing the Rockies, the Diamondbacks anymore. You're playing
the Padres for many years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Padres for a long time. But now you're playing those Braves, those good Phillies teams, the Braves teams that were really good for a while. Those good Cubs teams.
Yeah,
those are the teams you're playing now.
There's a higher quality.
Yeah, exactly.
But an example I bring up, I think Ted Williams is one of the greatest hitters of all time. He only played in one postseason series, and he was not good. He slashed 200, 333, 200.
Yeah,
are we going to slander Ted Williams? No. Granted, this happened 70 years ago.
That's why.
But
yeah, you're right.
The point is, we're not going to say in 70 years, we're not going to care about the postseason failures. He has a ring.
Yeah, now it does.
And that was amazing to see.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, you can hate the Dodgers all you want, but
they do.
You gotta be happy that Kershaw got his.
Yeah. I hated the fact the Dodgers won the World Series, but I'm Kershaw deserved a ring. Yeah, I'd rather him have left and gotten it. I'll say that.
Yeah. I never say anyone deserves a ring. That's just preposterous in my opinion. No one inherently deserves a ring.
That's fair.
But if we're saying amongst players who are currently active or have always had the opportunity to, he's the one who's the most deserving of it.
Yeah. I think that's what most people mean. But yeah, if anyone would get a ring, go ahead, Sam.
Now it's going to shift to Grom, I think, Mike Trout.
No, it's definitely Trout. But pitcher wise,
I forgot. Sure. I was just thinking pitcher wise, and I'm like, wait, Mike Trout exists. That's a guy who needs to go for the postseason first.
Yeah. And the Angels I think the deal with the Angels, and this kind of goes back to actually, ask another question, why the Angels give him up. I think the Angels giving up Albert Pujols was one of their big moves to kind of say, hey, we're actually going for it this year. Because Albert Pujols was a liability in Anaheim.
He was
god-awful. He was not good. And them moving on from him, I think, was a really, really important and big step for them being okay, we're competing, we're playing hard, we want to win games, and we're going
to kneecap ourselves by playing Albert Pujols at first base every day because we have Jared Walsh, who, by all accounts, has just been better.
Yeah, exactly. Even
if Shohei Ohtani didn't exist, maybe he'd still be the DH, but Fortunately for everyone, Shohei Ohtani exists.
God, he's electric. So much fun to watch Shohei.
It's
insane.
I don't know if we'll ever see anything like it again.
I don't think we will, at least for a long time. So you gotta take it in while you can. At least that's the opinion I have.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing right field more after he pitches.
I know, which I think is... I kind of like it. I'm a fan of it because he still plays a solid right.
I mean, the Angels are one of the worst defensive teams, so it's not like you're losing anything by putting him in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather, his natural defensive position isn't totally worth it.
Right. And I'm pretty sure he was an outfielder in Japan, right?
He can do it all, so.
That's true.
He's a
honestly, put him at shortstop, honestly. He'd probably be fine.
He could. If he put all of his energy at being the next great shortstop, he would be. This is what all baseball talk has come to in 2021. How amazing is Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah.
It gets you would think it gets tiring, but he continues to amaze.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even mad that he gets so much attention because he is just incredible.
Atop of the league in home runs. That's something we haven't seen in 100 years.
Yep.
And we may never see again. Hopefully the DH comes in and I never have to watch Trevor Bauer tower in the batter's box just wanting to finish the at-bat.
Mm-hmm. So
Yoshi Tsutsugo is pinch hitting for Vezia.
Yeah, Yoshi. I mean, wasn't great with the Rays on the year, but if any team's going to figure out how to use them, I think it's going to be the Dodgers.
That's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think it's a good move too.
Why not? He's very talented. He walks a lot. He just strikes out a lot.
Yeah, and this is something I said on last week's This Week in Baseball podcast, that the Dodgers, for a long time, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, it's been, their farm system is incredible, and it's but it's kind of being put to the test because the Dodgers are a pretty injury-ridden team right now. So, why not go and take a flyer on this guy?
Or why not go take a flyer on one of the greatest hitters ever play the game?
Exactly.
You have a lot of minor league guys, Hey, here's Albert Pujols, a guy you watched growing up.
He can also a mentorship kind of move. I also call it a money grab move as well.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if that's also the case. But
you can never have enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It helps away ticket sales, Dodgers fans let's see his last game at Coors Field.
Mm-hmm.
The big one is going to be his last game at Busch Stadium, or potential last game.
Yeah. Because they are there in September.
But that's a national TV game waiting to happen.
That's a national TV series waiting to happen.
If not, at least last game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just weird watching him Dodger blue. I like it.
It's not it's against the rules for him to be wearing blue at all. Because he went from a red team to a red team. So and
then he went from the red team to the red team's rival, the blue team.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It just feels wrong.
We've seen plenty of this before. Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
He wore a Brewers uniform. Willie Mays played for the Mets.
Yep.
Babe Ruth played for the Braves.
Babe Ruth also went from the Red Sox to the Yankees.
Yeah, that rivalry wasn't as developed as it is today, though.
Right. Yeah,
because the Yankees were kind of a doormat until they got Babe Ruth. But I mean, more recently,
yeah, who's made kind of the switch recently besides Pujols?
I don't know, because like the next Inner Circle Hall of Fame player that came to mind was Miggy. I'm like, being a Marlins jersey, but he won a World Series with them, so
and he started his career there. So I feel like that's
not.
But it's weird to think about Miggy in the Marlins jersey just because he didn't make his career really there. I'd say.
I was surprised to find out he was on the Marlins, but I started watching baseball like 10 years ago. So
so that's not in that era.
That's before he was
time.
traded to. Yeah. Justin Verlander's another one, but I have vivid memories of him as an Astro because of that World Series.
Which is fair.
And he won a ring with the Astros, and he won a Cy Young with the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
Winning doesn't count his tenure.
Yeah, that's fair. I know one. At least as a Giants fan, I know when Juan Uribe went to the Dodgers, that hurt. When Brent Wilson went to the Dodgers, that hurt. When Sergio Romo went to the Dodgers, the core pieces of our World Series teams were leaving for the Dodgers, and I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, Ichiro playing for the Marlins and the Yankees.
So wrong. Ichiro is a Seattle Mariner through and through.
At least he ended his. I love that he ended his career in.
It was so good. I miss watching.
It's wrong. Play. It's wrong to see Arenado in a Cardinals uniform.
Arenado was the most recent one, I'd say. I'm still not used to Lindor in a Mets uni.
Yeah. But I think Ichiro's the big one.
Mm-hmm. This offseason is going to be really weird watching so many big names switch teams.
Yeah, I think Scherzer's going to leave the Nats, and it'll be weird.
I think Scherzer. I think there's a decent chance Scherzer actually goes to the Angels.
I could see that.
The Angels are going to make such a hard push for pitching this offseason, as they should. So.
Plus, Art Moreno loves big names. I mean, Josh Hamilton, Jared Weaver, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the big name pitcher they signed. Anthony Rendon, Albert Pujols. He loves getting those big name players.
Yeah, and plus Scherzer's still been extremely effective and pretty darn good. Even at
it's just
38.
The Nats aren't the team they were a few years ago when they won it.
Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if the Nats ship him out of the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I would.
I think of Scherzer as a Nat, even though I saw him play really well with the Tigers. Mm-hmm. I think he won a Cy Young with the Tigers, but
he's also won some of the Nats.
He's gonna go into the Hall of Fame as a National.
Really? You think so?
I think so. Because he was good in Detroit, but he became legendary with the Nats.
Fair. I can see that for sure.
World Series champion, 2 more Cy Youngs.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I think you're probably right.
I mean, there are 4 pitchers who, right now, if they just retired at the end of the season, I just would say Hall of Famers, Verlander, Greinke, Scherzer, and Kershaw. All of them are free agents this offseason.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird. I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think at least one of those names retires.
He's like, your value's never going to be high. Like, he's just explaining it casually. And AJ Ellis is like, wow.
All right, that's the ball game, unfortunately. That's cool. Love that.
Another save for Kenley Jansen.
But saves don't matter. Saves are dumb.
Yeah. I always say that because Kenley Jansen is moving up.
That's fair. He is.
Like, saves are only relevant for 3 people at this point. Because I would say Kenley, Craig Kimbrell, and Aroldis Chapman are future Hall of Famers. And besides, Kenley has...
I don't know if Kenley's there yet.
I think he is.
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, from 2012 to 17, pretty much unhittable.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You're really,
and he's still really good. So, but I also love Kenley Jansen. So,
that also makes sense. I'm not surprised by that. Anyway, though,
it's hard not to like.
That's yeah, I guess
that's a ball game.
Yeah, that's the ball game. 6-3. Both teams moved to a record of 28-18. Giants dropped 2 here in a row. The Dodgers picked up the first 2 games of the series. Tomorrow we'll see what we get. And I think an afternoon game. 1:05 start time in San Francisco tomorrow. It's also a free game of the day for anyone who wants to watch there. But that'll do it here for us. So on behalf of everyone here at Diamond Digest and Jimmy and myself, thank you for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back. Diamond Digest will be back broadcasting Cubs Cardinals for our Sunday night watch party. But other than that, thank you for tuning in. Go baseball.